Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today, as you guys can see, I have another pair of Vibram shoes for review. Let's open up the box and see what it is. I'm actually finally more or less excited about this review, about Vibram. Not this review, but this particular review with this Vibram shoes that I've been doing, because these are my most favorite Vibram shoes so far that I reviewed, the Vibram V-RUN. Yes, they are running version of this Barefoot 5-finger shoe. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still not a fan of these fingers. I don't understand them. They take forever to put on. They take away from the comfort level. But overall, the concept of the shoe, I do like way more than the previous ones that I reviewed on this channel. So let's start with the review and you will understand why I'm saying that. As some of you already know, this review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival Boots section. Yes, and whenever I say boots, the reason why it's called Ultimate Survival Boots is because the very first many reviews that I've done were just boots, literally just boots. Most of them were hiking boots. But then I started adding stuff like trail running shoes, hiking shoes, barefoot shoes, water shoes, climbing shoes, and of course running shoes like this one, kind of a mix between the minimalist shoe and the barefoot shoe, right? All in the running shoe. And the reason why I added these shoes into the Ultimate Survival Boots category is because, you know, you're surviving, you're in your survival boots, you're hiking, you have your Ultimate Survival backpack on, right? And you get to the point where you need to cross a river, you need to do a quick run to scoop the territory, you need to climb up a structure. So you whip out one of these from your backpack. They're lightweight, they're small, they're compact, they can be stuck in the backpack without any problems. You put them on, you leave your backpack, and then you do whatever you have to do. You climb, you run, right? Now you're super lightweight, okay? So this is kind of like a backup Ultimate Survival shoe in this particular example. So how do I make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1, of course, the comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the shoes and boots that are reviewed on this channel, some of you already know I do a 3-mile run and then a 5-mile walk non-stop, and then I continue wearing the shoes for the rest of the day, so that the total wear time is about 8 hours. And like I said, these are so far my most favorite Vibram 5-finger shoes, alright? Out of the whole Vibram 5-finger series. So, there are a few reasons. First of all, is the weight. Let's see exactly how light or heavy these are. Well, light, really. 4.9, excellent weight. To give you a reference number, usually I say if you want a lightweight shoe or boot, you are looking for something under 20 ounce. This is a freaking quarter of that, but for that particular category, I would say anything under 7 ounce and you should be good. For that specific category where you carry those super light shoes in your backpack, right? Anything under 7 ounce. This is less than 5, so really good. Moving on, the flexibility of the bottom sole is you already noticed, is super duper flexible, so you can run properly without any problems in these shoes. They feel really nice. Now the inner sole is non-existent. Like, this is really, of all the Vibram shoes that are reviewed on the channel, I think this is the least cushiony inner sole. I'm really disappointed with this inner sole. I wish it was a little bit more cushioning, or at least just like in any other Vibram shoe. Still, this is my most favorite one of all the Vibram shoes, but the inner sole here is the worst, so keep in mind. Now, why it is my favorite is because of the overall material. It is very pleasant to the touch, unlike literally pretty much every other Vibram shoe that I reviewed on this channel. This feels very nice on the skin, and keep in mind, you're gonna be wearing these shoes without the socks, right? So you can't really add any additional cushioning unless you find some finger socks, I guess. I don't know. Don't ask me, but but if you can figure it out, yeah, maybe you'll make it work. But most of the times you're gonna be wearing this without the socks, and it's important for the material to feel good on your skin, and this really does feel pretty good on your skin. So overall comfort level, my only personal complaint, right, because for everybody it's different, is that the inner sole, I wish it was a little bit more cushiony. Let's move on to the criteria number 2, proofing and protection. Obviously, these are not waterproof. As you can see, they are, not at all waterproof, which is completely fine, because that's exactly what I would choose to cross the river, for example, because yes, they will get wet, but they will dry up super quick too, so great. Protection wise, again, not much to talk about, although there are a little bit kind of overlay of the outsole going over your toes here. As you can see, not much of the protection, is still very soft rubber, but a little bit something better than nothing. All right, and from the bottom you have a little bit of a harder outsole, unlike any other Vibram shoe, which is one of the reasons why this is my favorite one, because this is better than pretty much most of the other stuff that they have. But let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, these shoes are super popular on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Over 2,000 reviews and almost 5 stars. So people do like them. And quality-wise, I mean, longevity-wise, people, seem to have no complaints. But if you do, drop them in the comments below so that everybody else can see. That will be very helpful. Now, whenever it comes to the design features, here you have your quick lace system, which I think is great for this type of shoes. And as you can see, you tighten it, you tighten the lock, and then there's a little piece of Velcro that goes up here. Now, the only little thing that kind of, I think, was overlooked is this stuff hanging around. It's a little bit of a tripping hazard. You can figure out the way to tuck it under the string, not a problem. Something like that will work. But, if Vibram had some kind of pocket or anything somewhere, that would be nice, but not in this shoe, not in this case. Not a big deal though. So let's move on to the criteria number 4, outsole traction and stability. Now, whenever I do my run and my walk, I test my shoes and my boots on a variety of different surfaces, starting with older asphalt, going to newer tarmac, then the dry sand and wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, concrete, marble tile, rubber, rock, anything, right? Anything except snow and ice for the most part, unless it's the winter boots, because it just wouldn't make sense. Plus, I live in Florida, so not always I have a snow around. But in this particular instance, I do like the outsole. It's more on the flatter side, so it is a little bit slippery on stuff like wet grass. Keep that in mind. But everything else, it handles pretty good. My only complaint is there is this much of the space, very, very slippery space, that Vibram could have implemented some ridges. Now, there are ridges here on this, but they're very slippery ridges. They're not as aggressive and sticky as this type of rubber, which is what I would expect to be here. So for climbing, I would not recommend these shoes for the most part, unfortunately. But yeah, I think if the ridges were here, it would have been fantastic. But overall, this outsole is still better than any other outsole that Vibram has, because it actually does give you a decent amount of protection from the bottom, and you don't feel paranoid whenever you're running, especially if you're running on the trail. Let's move on to the criteria number 5, temperature. Okay, no point to talk about the cold here. These are not winter shoes in any way, obviously. But in the hot weather, that's another thing why I like these the most out of all the Vibram shoes specifically, is because they're very breathable, and again, the material is very pleasant to the touch, unlike most of the other stuff from Vibram. Really, I think this is the only Vibram shoe that my feet did not overheat in, so I'm happy about that. Let's move on to the criteria number 6 real quick, sizing. Now, for some reason, these do run a little bit small, keep that in mind, which is kind of weird because everything that I've been reviewing on this channel from Vibram was 9.5, 10, which was a perfect fit. But these particular ones, 9.5, 10, but they are running a bit small, so keep that in mind. Let's move on to the criteria number 7, balance of application. So if this really were your shoes in your backpack, right, and you were walking and you got to somewhere where you needed to put these on and do whatever lightweight you needed to do, would they be good? I think it's probably out of Vibram. To me personally, this is one of the best options. Because I do like the outsole for the most part. It could have been way better, but it's definitely better than everything else that I reviewed. Would I choose them? So far, of everything I reviewed, no, I wouldn't. So, so I would choose something else, actually, from New Balance. That would be my choice on the barefoot shoes, just because they don't have these fingers. I mean, these fingers are, honestly, I don't know, maybe you guys like them. It's a personal preference. If you do, that's completely fine. But to me, I mean, after testing so many Vibram shoes, my conclusion on all of these fingers is they're absolutely pointless. They just make it hard to get in. That's really it. And the very last criterion here is the price. And that's another ridiculous thing about these shoes. $130 currently on Amazon. The link is in the description below. $128.39. Wow. For $130, I mean, I bought my Ultimate Survival boots, my personal Ultimate Survival boots. Also, let me rephrase that. Out of hundreds of boots that are reviewed on this channel, the boot that I chose for myself, that is the best one for me so far, which is Salomon X Ultra 3 GTX. I don't hide that fact. I bought it for cheaper than these ones. I don't really understand how Vibram justifies the price, but hey, you know, if you really want the shoe and you're whatever, you have too much money, well, I guess go ahead. The link is in the description below. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think about the shoe? What do you think about this review? If you have any requests for reviews, drop them in the comments below, and I will be happy to address them. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.